Hello everybody and welcome to Hobbyist Fishkeeper. I am Will and today's video is going to be a revisit to this, which is the Seachem Tidal 110. Now I originally got this around about 10 months ago. It was to replace a canister filter that I had on this tank that went a bit kaput, and I needed to get one in emergency, and because I'd had some success with hang-on backs in my tanks upstairs, I decided to go and get the biggest hang-on back that I could find, being the 110, and give this a go. Now they do two other versions of this, I believe. I think there's a Tidal 55 and a 75, which are basically just smaller versions of this beast here. Now I'm calling it a beast because it is a beast of a hang-on back. We do have some vital statistics. So it caters for tanks up to 400 litres, and it filters 2,000 litres per hour or 450 gallons per hour, and internally it holds 3.2 litres of whatever you want it to, really. It did come with some media. It was, what did they call it, Seachem Matrix Bio Media, which on closer inspection was basically just small bits of pumice stone, to be honest. So I did put them in to start off with, but then I whipped them back out again and redid all the mechanical filtration in this. But onto the filter itself. Like I said before, it is a beast of a filter. It's massive. It's fairly quiet, to be honest. The only noise that you can really hear from it is the flow of the water trickling back or shooting back onto the surface, as there is a flow that you can set on a smaller flow or a high flow, and depending on the distance from the overflow, I mean, if you've got a tank with no rim, this could quite easily sit straight onto your surface, so there wouldn't be any noise, or I should say there'd be very little noise. But because I do have a rim on that tank, it's sat quite high up, so the water level was around about here. In fact, you can, maybe not cleaned it very well, you can see where the water level was on that, so there's a good inch of a drop for the water to drop there. So the water noise was quite noisy from it, but the actual pump itself, that was yeah, quite quiet, to be honest, considering the size of it. You've got the intake, which you can set at different levels, and it also has a surface skimmer, which worked quite well when I actually removed it from this tank and put it on a tank upstairs with Oscars and big pleco and other very messy fish that I fed frozen feeder fish. Quite a lot of oils on frozen feeder fish, so the surface skimmer was quite good for that. Let's move on to the internal, so I'll just pop it down here. Very good indicator to tell you that your filter is getting clogged because of this. So when it's getting clogged and the water level rises in the actual chamber, that in turn pushes that up to tell you to give it a clean and maintain your filter as best as possible. It didn't really work for me because I cleaned it out quite a lot, to be honest, so it's kind of an emergency indicator more than anything, because you should keep on top of your filters. As good as a filter is, if you're not cleaning it out properly, it's not going to work properly. It's that simple, really. Like I said before, you've got your flow there, and then you have the internal basket. Now this internal basket is one of the easiest baskets that I have ever encountered. It literally, if you can do it one hand, pull straight out. So that is the basket, and basically in the bottom of that I had a coarse foam, medium foam, and a filter floss, and then on top of that I had some Bio Home Ultra. Now, I'm going to be doing a video on Bio Home Ultra in a couple of videos time to go through what that actually is. It holds quite a lot of media, to be honest, and it's a really good basket. The only issue I've got with it is if you can see the shape of it, when you're cutting out the actual sponges, if you want them to fit in perfectly, it's quite fiddly to get it round that corner and to make sure it all packs in nice and tight. Other than that, like I say, it's a really good filter. It cost me £68, I think, £68.50 I think it was. Just did a quick Google and I found one for £62.49. That's the cheapest one I've found for this size. So not much depreciation in value really for 10 months, so at least you know that they're holding the value, and yeah, they must be selling quite well. What else can we say about it? Other than, you must be asking yourself, if it's so good and it's such a beast, why is it not in a tank? Well, there is a drawback to it, and I think it's because of the sheer size, and I don't think you would have the same drawback with the smaller versions, the 55 and the 75. The surface skimmer, the inlets are quite wide, and the intake at the bottom, which comes off quite easily, I don't know if you can see if that's picking up on camera, but they're quite wide also. So when I had a fiasco upstairs with the big tank, I did bring this downstairs and pop it onto this one. So the main drawback of this is that these intakes are far too large for fish of that size, especially if you've got breeding fish. Fish fry, I don't know how many I lost, but I lost quite a hell of a lot. Now, I did put a coarse foam pad on the intake and tie wrapped it on, so that stopped it from there, but there's no stopping this unless you fix something over it, and it kind of defeats the object of having a nice hang-on back that's all nice and neat. So yeah, they will get sucked in there and you will lose smaller fish. So fantastic filter, honestly it really is, just not good for tanks with small fish. It's never let me down, it's never clogged up. The only thing it's done is killed me little fish, which is not the filter's fault, it's my fault for thinking that everything will be a-okay. I can highly recommend this filter. Yeah, if you've got big fish, you want some cracking filtration with the choice of putting whatever you want into the media basket, 10 out of 10 as far as I'm concerned. It's a great filter, and you will see it again in the future, just not on this tank with these fish. Highly recommended. If you're looking for a new hang-on pack, even if it's not this big, go for the 55 and the 75. I highly recommend it. I'm staring at this bit here as well. I forgot to mention that. That is for your heater. It clips in all nice and neat, and it just basically just tucks away in the corner. It's great. I can't recommend it enough. That's it from me. Thanks for joining me again. A couple more videos this week, maybe some more product reviews, and then we'll get on to some new tanks coming up pretty soon. Thanks for joining me. See you again soon. Cheers.